Okay, so now we're going to be talking about connectors, and this is the way in which your letters connect to each other. Specifically here, I want to focus on more interesting connectors that tend to come up in words very often. So for instance, if you're going to write the word the, this is typically how you would write it. Now, if you want to make it a little bit more interesting, you can turn this cross into this loop on the H. And how you do that is you start with the T, and then rather than doing your ascending stem loop the traditional way, you bring it over from here, cross your T, and there you have it. Another great way of connecting words is to use the tail of a word to cross a T. So for instance, if you want to do the word stay, here where you're going to typically bring your Y up, you're going to continue it on so that way it can then cross your T. So you bring it up and do something like that. And there's a lot of different ways of connecting your words and connecting your letters in creative ways like that. But it's just very fun to kind of see what it is that you can sort of come up with. And I'll show you one more. Let's do Polly. So here you can do the L exactly the same as that one, or another more interesting way of doing it is kind of crossing it through the original L just to add a little bit of a kind of element to look at. And one more that I'd like to show you that's really fun is so say for instance you're going to write the word steady. So now here, where you would normally do the ascending stem loop, you kind of mimic what you did here, but it's crossing over these other letters. So you bring this over, and there you have it. Now you could also do that with the Y and bring it up and over, but that's a little bit more elaborate. So these are just some great examples. I encourage you to kind of play with your words and see what works. And sometimes if you aren't ready to do it with a pen, it's fun to just play around with a pencil and kind of figure out what you think looks best until you decide on like the final look, and then you can just do it over with your pen.